The Girl Who Came Back, written by Susan Lewis, read by Kass. The moral right of the author has been asserted. Prologue. It wasn't right to feel this way. Not about her own daughter. The child was only 9, for God's sake. She was an innocent, a tender young soul, still trying to find her way in the world. Except that wasn't how she seemed, innocent and tender, or how she behaved. She wasn't like other children. She didn't run or skip or play childish games. She didn't sing or tease or sleep like an angel. She didn't look at people. She stared. She didn't laugh, or when she did, the sound was false, jarring, sadly humorless. Olivia had never heard girlish giggles erupting from bubbles of happiness or excitement inside Amelia. Little seemed to amuse her, or even please her. Although she was often fascinated by things. Insects, small animals, dolls, tools, gadgets, other children's toys. She always wanted what wasn't hers, which perhaps didn't make her so very different from other children. Olivia had come across plenty of kids like that. Amelia didn't speak very much either, at least not to her mother. She chatted away with her father when he made time for her. She was the apple of his eye when he remembered she was there. As far as he was concerned, nothing was too much for his girl, provided it didn't get in the way of his other commitments. Olivia felt sure that Amelia was the only human being her husband had ever come close to loving, although she'd thought he loved her once. That seemed a very long time ago. She wondered how she'd ended up in this marriage, how she'd allowed herself to become the victim of such an egotistical man with such a dismissive air towards those he considered of little use. Olivia was never entirely sure how useful she was to him. In a material sense, she wanted for nothing. They lived in a large, imposing house, a stone's throw from Chelsea Bridge. She had her own suite of rooms, a fancy car, a generous allowance, and all the freedoms she could wish for. She also had a daughter who was healthy and intelligent, meticulously clean and tidy, but never seemed joyful or carefree. Amelia was sullen and sly. Yes, really, sullen and sly. Olivia had never voiced her feelings about Amelia to anyone, least of all to her husband, Anton. Of course, he would say the problem, if there was one, and he probably wouldn't admit that there was, lay entirely with her. She was Amelia's mother, therefore she was the person Amelia spent the most time with, when she wasn't away at school, so it stood to reason that she was the biggest influence on Amelia's life. Amelia was on her 3rd school now, 5th if Olivia counted the 2 kindergartens she'd attended. Amelia couldn't settle. Other children didn't warm to her, or were afraid of her, or ruthlessly tormented her. Olivia felt sorry for her when she was bullied and tried to soothe her, but Amelia hated being babied. What was to become of her? Would she change as she got older and start to understand that she needed to be more like others if she wanted to be accepted by them? It was pointless trying to have the conversation with her. She simply got up and walked away. Or she'd tell her mother to shut up, or to leave her alone, she was busy. Anton's parents were bewildered by the girl, although most things bewildered them these days. As for Olivia's parents, they'd separated many years ago, and she hadn't seen either of them in a very long while. She didn't even know where they were living now, though she guessed she could find out easily enough if she tried. She'd felt so painfully alone since marrying Anton, which wasn't how she'd felt when she was still single. She'd had lots of friends then, a career as a legal secretary, a great social life, and she'd always been up for something new. Anton had been like that too, dashing and daring, successful, romantic, and always attentive. So what had changed him? Maybe his irresistible charm had been an act that he'd simply dropped once he'd made her his wife, seeing no need to go on pleasing her as he had when they first met. She had no idea if he ever had affairs, but she hoped he did. They would provide her with a solid excuse to leave.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?